Hello friends! Happy New Year once again. I am doing one of these again, I guess. It was kind of a fun project to do last time. I thought, what the heck, I'll do it again. Only problem was, it was a lot harder for me to pare the list down this time, but we'll get into that in a minute. So yes, as you are undoubtedly aware, because it's the title of this video, I'm doing another top 10 of 2018 video. Now what that means is this is a top 10 of the figures that I personally got my hands on this year. It doesn't mean that they necessarily came out this year. Mostly because I don't get all the toys that come out in the year. Like, I cannot possibly sustain, either through money or physical space, the kind of channel that a lot of other toy reviewers do. Not to knock them, I mean, I think it's impressive, but like, I just can't. It's physically and monetarily impossible for me. But anyway, as I was saying, this is just my top 10 of the figures that I personally got my hands on in the year of 2018. Funny enough, so many awesome things came out this year, it was really difficult to make that list, as I said. In last year's video, I mentioned that I was probably going to have the Giant Saber Space Deleter mechs on this list. And spoilers, they're not. And that's not because I soured on them or anything like that, it's just because there have been so many great things that I got my hands on this year, both new and old, that they just kind of got nudged out. See, when I put this list together, after going down everything, I had about 36 entries, and that's a bit ridiculous. So I have since narrowed it down to a definitive top 10 for me, as well as 10 honorable mentions. That said, I want to give a quick shout out to Make Toys Downbeat, Gigapower's Gravitor, and the Transformers Siege Deluxes, because those are all pretty cool too, but yeah, they're not quite honorable mentions. Also, I specifically wanted to bring up Gravitor and the other Siege Deluxes because Gigapower's Gutter and Transformers Siege Skytread are my two biggest disappointments of 2018, and it's complicated. Basically, Gutter, colossal disappointment, especially considering what the original asking price for that toy is. It's just unacceptable, the condition that it came in. But Gravitor made up for that, so I'm not discounting the entire line yet. Same goes for the Siege figures. I was looking forward to Skytread the most out of all of them, and I have the fused hip problem. And as much as I want to go on a rant about how Hasbro, in their infinite wisdom, made the problem worse with the popping off crotch plate, instead, you've got like a minor annoyance, now you've got toys that are completely useless. And they left the distributors holding the bag, because when I bought mine from the Chosen Prime, Hasbro wasn't issuing them replacements or anything like that. Basically, they were just out the money. It's ridiculous. Like, that's not how you treat the people who sell your products. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, like I said I wasn't gonna do. But yeah, Skytread was a disappointment because of that fused hip problem. You can't transform, and Gravitor has just terrible QC. So, with the negatives out of the way, let's get to the positives. Honorable mentions, I'm just going to run down the list. I'm not really going to give my thoughts on them or anything like that, because this video is going to be long enough as it is. So, to start, we've got Open and Play Big Spring, Cybertron Sideways, Unique Toys Orden, the Giant Saber Space Deleter Mecha, like I said, Titan's Return Repugnus, Generation Springer, the Mecha Boy 3D, Cybertron Downshift. The whole reason I have that figure is because of Thu, I admit it. Power of the Primes Predaking, and the Black Mamba oversized Studio Series Starscream. So those are my honorable mentions for 2018, all fantastic toys, and really the stuff that didn't make the list at all was also really fantastic. It's just, like I said, this is so much. So with all that out of the way, let's start this off proper. Number 10 is a figure that's relatively new, but actually came out I think last year. It involves a character that I know nothing about, knew nothing about, still know nothing about, but I just really, really like the design, and the figure is really solid. It's really, really nice. And I'm saying really a lot. But coming in at number 10 is the really, really, really great Mastermind Creations Kultur. This guy is so much fun. He's simple, but he's so well made. He is just a joy to mess with, and he looks so good on the shelf. I love him. I love him. Number 9 is a figure that I had my sights on for a while, and when I finally got it in hand, there were some issues, as a lot of people had as well, but ultimately, even with the issues, I still love this thing to the point where I'm really not entirely certain I'm gonna bother getting the the improved second run of it, though I am tempted. That is Unique Toys Challenger. This is a really cool figure, and just like Unique Toys Perukil, as I said in the video for this guy, it's got one of those transformations that's just magical. The robot disappears when you go into the truck mode, the truck disappears when you go into the robot mode. It is so cool. And yeah, he's got a few problems here and there, but I was able to mitigate most of them myself, which, yes, totally understand why people would be bothered by that. You shouldn't have to do that kind of stuff on your toys when you get them. But with just a little bit of TLC, this guy is really, really solid and nice. Number 8 is another Optimus, but probably not the one you're thinking. It is Power of the Primes Optimus Prime. Now, this guy, on his own, out of the box, would not have made this list. I completely admit that, and I am cheating a little bit. But after adding some repro labels and doing a little bit of custom paintwork on this guy, not a lot, just like little bits here and there. Like I painted the lights on his chest, that kind of thing. After a little bit of tweaking, he is just so great. And I mean, I feel like the Orion packs on his own totally makes this set, but with all of the slight adjustments here and there, plus the really awesome Orion packs, I feel like this is just a really, really nice Prime. That being said, if you were to get your hands on this guy, it's obviously like, you know, basic figure out of the box is not going to look like this, and that could definitely affect how you might feel about it. But for me, it's a combination of it looking really cool as Optimus, the Orion Pax figure just being fantastic all on its own, and the fact that it was kind of a personal project for me, and it was just fun to go in there and do some little tweaks here and there and turn them into what I felt was like my definitive version of this figure. Alright, and now we're off the primes for the time being. Actually, we're completely off the primes. Now we are moving on to number 7, and number 7 is the Jinbao oversized knockoff version of the Gravity Builder Constructicons. I only have 4 of the 6 right now. The last 2, Hook and Long Haul, I forget what their names are from the Gravity Builder set, but those 2 are in the mail. They might still be up on Surtoys if you're trying to figure out how you can get your hands on those 2, because I don't think they're in like TF Direct yet. But yeah, they're in the mail, but I haven't gotten them in yet. But still, even without those 2, I was getting this set for the Constructicons, not for Devastator, and as standalone figures, they're pretty darn great. I just have Bonecrusher or Bulldozer here to kind of represent the 4 of them, because I don't want to carry 4 figures of this size all at once. But I love the aesthetic that Generation Toy went with the Gravity Builder Constructicons. It's both simultaneously like kind of classic in a way, but at the same time completely new. Like I love how his bulldozer plow thing, instead of becoming the chest, becomes like shoulder pauldrons. It's a really, really cool take on the characters and figures, and I love this. They're a really nice size, a nice heft. I feel like they're not absurdly big, but at the same time, they definitely have some size to them. And yeah, these guys are very cool. Alright, moving on to number 6. Number 6, we're going back to the Movieverse, unofficial Movieverse, and that is Transform Dream Factories. I forget what their official name for this guy is. I'll put it down below, obviously, but their version of Bonecrusher, this thing is so fantastic. It's really nice. And it's weird because I wasn't really feeling the plastic quality of Transform Dream Factory's Starscream, specifically the, movie masterpiece color scheme version. As I said in that comparison video, this guy's plastic feels completely different. It feels much more sturdy, and he is so amazing. This is a unique Toys quality transformation in the sense that the entire vehicle just explodes and turns inside out to become the robot, and then that explodes and turns inside out to become the vehicle. It's so great. I do have a few issues with like tabs here and there, but overall, like, this is so good, and I will be talking about him in the future. Actually, it stands to reason, but just in case you all are wondering, any of the figures that I show in this video that I haven't done videos on yet will be getting videos. Probably. Can't promise anything because I'm a fickle creature, but I intend to do videos on all of the figures that I showcase in this video, including this guy. And yeah, this guy is fantastic. This is... Studio Series is not replacing this guy. No, 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 no. Number 5 is something of a late entry in that I got this figure 1, maybe 2 weeks ago. It really hasn't been that long, and one could totally make the argument that I'm putting this guy on the list because of how new and fresh the figure is in my mind, and that's a viable argument. It's also a viable argument to say that one of the reasons why this one's so high up on my list is because I did a few tweaks already, and the tweaks have also made a huge difference, but this is my list and I don't care. Anyway, number 5 is Cloud9's Quakeblast. This guy I had my eye on for a while. Like back when I first started getting back into collecting, I had my eye on this guy, but couldn't quite justify the price at the time. And then when I could justify the price, I couldn't find him anywhere, so I managed to luck out. I basically found a listing for this guy on eBay for almost half of what the regular retail price is, which is amazing, and cross-referenced that eBay seller's name with a list that's currently live on TFW that's constantly being updated as far as I know. And it's basically a list of like Chinese-based eBay sellers and whether or not they've, you know, scammed people in the past or done anything kind of shady. And this particular seller, while very new and had very low feedback, had, you know, no problems and was on that list as a trustworthy seller, so I got it from them, and yep, just Quakeblast, so trustworthy seller. Quakeblast is wonderful. I believe it was Thu who called him a mean aubergine. He is so great. This, like, I know everyone has their thing when it comes to Shockwave, especially Masterpiece style Shockwaves. Me personally, not a fan of the official Masterpiece Shockwave. He looks kind of like a weedy dork to me in like Easter colors, and not saying anyone who likes that is wrong, because I totally get that there are people who are more into cartoon accuracy versus comics accuracy versus movie accuracy versus whatever. Me, I'm just interested in a Shockwave that looks awesome, and of the 3 that I'm aware of, that being Fans Toys Quakewave, Cloud9's Quakeblast, and the official Masterpiece Shockwave, this is the one that looks the most awesome to me. I love the bulk on him. The color is so nice. It's this really deep metallic purple, and it looks so delicious. I kind of wanted to get the black variant of this guy, but I decided not to because I don't have lighting in my shelves, and if I had a large black Shockwave on the shelf, I wouldn't be able to see him ever, so I went with this. And yeah, he is just fantastic. You know, a couple little problems here and there. His laser is a little bit bent, which I have yet to really go in to try and fix, but other than that, his backpack's a little bit wobbly, which is fine. These bits on the sides of the legs here that form the gun handles are scary to transform the first time, but after a couple of transformations, they've kind of eased up a bit. And the main thing that I've done to him that has made a huge difference to me, and this is again kind of cheating like I did with Power of the Prime's Optimus Prime, but I don't care because this is my video and I can do what I want. I went into his face and painted black with yellow for the eye over the LED, and yeah, I know I painted over the LED, but I don't plan on using that light ever because I don't really like it when figures have light gimmicks that like get in the way of the eyes. I mean, obviously, it's like light piping. Unless that stuff works spectacularly, even if you're not trying to use it, I feel like the figure just looks lifeless. Say what you will, but I mean, like, I'm looking at the camera right now, like, you can totally, that yellow pops, even from this distance. So, say what you will, but I love the way that looks. I also slapped a little faction logo on there. But yeah, Quakeblast has been a blast, but I do really like him. Lighting and stuff aside, like, I don't even care about the lighting stuff. He just looks great, feels great. he is fun to transform now that I've gotten these things a little bit loosened up. And yeah, I'm very glad I finally got my hands on him. Incidentally, in case anyone's wondering, the reason this spot on my shelf is a little bit sparse is because Quakeblast, as well as a few other figures on this list, are sitting back there, so if you can tell what's missing, you know what's coming up. And now we're getting into the top 4, and the top 4 are significant because when I was putting this list together, those were the 4 on the list of 36 that I was like, these have to be on the list. And by virtue of that fact, I figured, okay, well, they have to be the top 4. So, coming in at number 4 is Generation 2 Masterpiece Sideswipe. I love this guy so much. I know I gushed about him in the video, but I just love him so much. And I'm not even into like dorky 90s stuff to the extent that Thu is. I don't dislike that kind of stuff, but like there's just something about this, specifically this. The really nice dark black on red on white, the spiky shoulder pads, the giant guns with the sword, the scowl. This is a Sideswipe that I absolutely love because he's like this weird combination of Judge Dredd and Rambo, and it's completely ridiculous, but because it's completely ridiculous, I absolutely love it. And I still haven't been able to bring myself to put a faction logo on him because I just don't want to disrupt that beautiful finish right there on the chest. I just can't bring myself to do it. He's fine as he is, and as is, he is lovely. Now we're in the top 3, and there's a bit of a story behind this one. So, my number 3 is a figure that I never actually expected to own. It's a bit of an extravagance. I mean, all of this is extravagant. They're toys. They don't, they're not important. They don't matter. I mean, not in the grand scheme of things. I mean, clearly I care a lot about these things. Like, they're lovely, and I love all of them in many ways. Not like that. They're toys. They're probably one of the least important things in my life, all things considered. So that being said, something this extravagant was just not a thing that I expected to ever really get my hands on. But let's just say that through the various jobs that I have, particularly my day job, it was a pretty nice December. And so I treated myself to a few really extravagant things. And one of those extravagant things was Perfect Effects Mega Doragon. This thing is so pretty. Even looking at it from this angle, it's just so wonderful. And the wingspan is absurd. I actually measured, it's like 28 inches from tip to tip. From the widest tip to the widest tip. I have no connection whatsoever to late Beast Wars stuff. Like, I don't care about Optimal Optimus. I don't care about whatever this version of Megatron was called. I have no personal connection to it. But the Perfect Effect renditions of this guy, it's just so gorgeous. This is hands down the most beautiful piece in my collection, and I don't mind that at all. This guy is so wonderful. The finish, the paint job, the overall design, all the little mechanical details here and there, the sort of Gundam-esque super robotic details, the wings, obviously. Posability is nice. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit difficult with the wings sometimes, but it works. And there's just so much to love about this guy aesthetically. I couldn't not put him on the list. I couldn't. Rest assured, I do have more to say on Perfect Effect Mega Doragon. Doragon, whatever. But I'm gonna save that for the official video, because there's a lot I want to talk about with him. And the other ones too that I haven't done videos on. Number 2 is a figure that I have done a video on. It's actually a figure that I've done a couple of videos on at this point. And yeah, okay, it's sort of like cheating like I did with Quakeblast and with Power of the Primes Prime, but again, my channel don't care. Number 2 is Mastermind Creations Dicamus. This guy is so great, and again, don't have much of a connection with Roadbuster, but I love this guy so much. The one gripe I had with him originally was the fact that he looked really plain. After adding repro labels, it adds so much to this figure, and it looks so good. And the transformation is simple but really effective, and he has such a presence on the shelf. He's just fantastic. I love the design of this character. I guess some people don't like this look for Roadbuster, but I think this looks great. And with just those little bit of added decals here and there to kind of add a little bit of color and whatnot, he's so good. He's so good, and he's so solid. And as I'm thinking about it, I actually have more than one Mastermind Creations figure on this list, so I guess you could say I'm a bit of a fanboy, but I don't care, because this is good. This is very good. And so here we are at number 1, and this is probably going to be a little bit of a cop-out, I think, because this is a very recent acquisition, and it's a, I guess, specialized repaint. Not everyone's going to be able to get it, though if you are interested in this figure, as of this recording, I will put up a correction if not, but as of this recording, you can actually still get this figure at Toy Dojo, and if possible, if you have that interest, I highly recommend it. And that figure is Ocular Max's Stealth Azalea. I have been wanting a Masterpiece styled RC for a long time. Toy World said, this is all my opinion before anyone goes off on me. This is all my opinion. Toy Worlds looks like garbage in both modes, and I hate the fact that you cannot transform her into vehicle mode without taking her hands off. What is that? Fans Toys version I was tempted by. I think having the wheels in the knees is a really cool trick with the transformation, but the one thing, well, two things. The three things that really threw me off and put me off on the Fans Toys Rouge, not Rogue. I've been wanting to rant about that for a long time. It's Rouge. Anyway, the three things that bugged me about Fans Toys Rouge is both, like, two of them are the shoulder pods that just kind of flail around like mad and seem to be a nightmare to transform. I'm just not looking forward to that kind of thing. And the other one was that face. Sure, you all know what I'm talking about. It was just dumb. And I'm not saying, like, oh, no one should buy it because of the face option. It's just like, that was actually a bit of a turnoff for me. Not enough, like, if it was just that, that wouldn't have been enough for me to be like, I'm not touching the figure, but like that plus the floppy shoulder pods is just like, you know, with Ocular Max's Azalea coming out, I was just like, that looks good, I'm gonna wait on that. Granted, this is not Ocular Max's Azalea, this is Stealth Azalea. Okay, I have her in this like creepy kind of zombie walking pose, not walking, like a creepy standing pose, because of that creepy face. I'm hoping that's focused, but yeah, because of the creepy face, also she comes with the orange creepy face, I have her in this kind of pose, and I just think it's great. To put things in perspective, I just got this figure a couple of weeks, like less than a week ago actually, and the transformation is fun once you actually, you know, get your brain around it, because there are a few things that you have to be kind of particular about. But the transformation is fun, the pods lock in very nicely, very cleanly. She has like no real backpack. The posability is fantastic. She's just astonishingly stable, especially for a figure with like these tiny feet and slender legs. Like she's got better balance than some of the larger, like beefier man bots that I've got in the collection. Like she is really well balanced. It's amazing. There you go. She's quite stable. But like the posability, the balance, the creepy faces, which I just love, the color scheme is great. I love this figure enough, and I am not making this up, I am not bragging, I'm not being hyperbolic in any way. I love this figure enough that I am totally getting the regular Azalea as well. This is one of those times where I'm totally going to double dip on a mold, and I don't even care. This thing is just great. It's exactly what I wanted from a Masterpiece style RC. There will be people who don't agree with that, that's fine. I'm just saying, me, this is my Masterpiece RC. Well, a version of that. And I cannot wait to get my hands on the regular Azalea as well. But for now, I love this, and I love the... I'm not gonna go into all that because I will be doing a video on this, because you could bet I'm gonna be doing a video on this. But for what she is amazing. Like I said, just a fantastic figure. If you are interested, I do definitely recommend checking her out, and I will include a link to Toy Dojo down below if she's still available on their site. This is everything that I was hoping for, and I also think it's funny that people were talking about like her compared to no, I'm trying to say Rouge. People comparing her to Rouge and saying like, oh, she's tiny. It's like, no, this isn't, like, I get that she's shorter than Rouge, yes, but this is not tiny. This is not tiny. This is like Masterpiece Carbot size. This is a perfectly reasonable size. But anyway, I think you've all heard me ramble for long enough. That is my top 10 figure acquisitions for 2018, plus another 10 honorable mentions, plus a handful of just because. I hope you all had fun watching this. In the event that some of you had your eye on some of these figures, I hope you found it informative. Also, I don't know if you can see it, but Diana got me this shirt for Christmas, and I love it. It is so fantastic. It's it's so great. It's actually the patent for the G1 Optimus Prime figure, but printed on a shirt. Like, that's amazing. So good. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you, I was gonna say next year, but by the time you're watching this, it's already next year, so next week? Shaved for the video.